Welcome anyone to the Gaming Chamber Podcast, episode, I think it's 6 now, I believe. Oh man, I am not remembering the episodes.
Numbers are hard.
Numbers are very hard. I am 2Beast to Kill You, aka Everett, and as you heard, joining me as usual and talking his mad shit as usual, Devin, go ahead, say what's up.
How's it going?
And also joining me as usual for this tripod of ours, JJ, go ahead. He might be busy, I guess.
My bad.
Like you.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
Oh, yeah. No, we can hear you. You're good. You're good.
Okay, just making sure. Making me go fucking crazy.
No, we can hear
Well,
you.
you are, but
I said I'm a little crazy.
That's true.
anybody who plays RuneScape as much as you.
Exactly. Anyone who plays RuneScape is... That means there's a lot of people that are pretty crazy.
Take a shortcut.
So yeah, as I said, episode 6. Keep this train going. 6 episodes. Did not think we would make it this far, right, guys? Nothing?
I'm
Oh,
gonna
fuck
go
yeah.
at least 7, bro.
We're gonna go at least 7. If we don't make it to episode 69, then
6 seasons in a movie.
6 seasons
Yeah.
and a movie. There we go. What is that? Community, right?
Community.
That's it. Yeah, Community. So yeah, episode 6. You know, there was a.
Oh,
What is it?
sorry. I just blew myself up.
Oh, you blew yourself in. As you can see, where me and my buddies were playing some Dead Island 2. Because there's a trial this weekend on Xbox. So why not try Dead Island 2, even though it's not on an island. So yeah, this week we do have some good shit to talk about, especially if you were paying attention to what Xbox was doing. And holy crap, Devin, what you were talking about earlier with like the dismemberment and gore in this game, you were not wrong.
The system, what they called the system in this game, but yeah, that was their whole selling point in this game was the wherever you smack these zombies, chunks will fly and stuff. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Score.
Yeah, so before we get into... Basically, this episode's probably just going to be like a... I mean, we're talking about the news, but it seems like everything that we're talking about is just business updates on a lot of the... Or not a lot, but the 3 major publishers. The big 3, Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation. So, you know, that's going to be some fun news. The business stuff is always fun to talk about. Before we get into all that stuff, what have we been playing? Devin, you been playing anything new this past week?
Well, I mentioned last week that I was, I don't know, because Assassin's Creed Mirage got me in the mood for just playing, more Assassin's Creed. So I've been playing some of Unity, just because that was one that I never finished. I played that, some Suicide Squad, this, and then today I had enough power-up points, so I decided to pick up. I got $25 off of that new Mario versus Donkey Kong game. So I picked that up for $20 today at GameStop. So I just picked it up a couple hours ago. So I haven't got a chance to play that one yet, but I will be playing that sometime.
JJ, more RuneScape?
Well, obviously, but I've been playing the Arkham Asylum games.
Have you played them
Batman.
before? Or you just...
I played them back in the 360 days, and then I think when you guys were talking about Suicide Squad and the Kevin Conroy, everybody like that, I was actually watching the Batman show, the animated series on HBO Max, and I just been in a Batman mood, honestly.
I get that. I get that completely. There was...
I just wanted to be Batman at that point.
I kind of had gotten into, as I was playing the Suicide Squad game, I got into, a Suicide Squad mood. Because they were $5, they're on sale on Voodoo. I bought the, what is it called? Okay, it's not called Suicide Squad. It's called Batman Assault on Arkham. It's based in the the Arkham universe or whatever. It's a movie, a cartoon movie. And then there's one called Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay, another cartoon movie. And I did watch the what's his name? Is it David Ayer? The guy who directed that first Suicide Squad movie. I was watching that movie.
Released the Ayer cut.
Release the Ayer cut. I watched the director's cut they have of that or whatever. I
It's still
maintain.
not the Ayer.
Yeah, it's not. But I maintain that's a good movie. I like that movie. It's it's a dumb action movie. Like all you need is just a serviceable story where it's just like that gets you from plot A to plot B point or whatever you want to call it, and just give me some fucking cool action with that looks good. It doesn't look too like choreographed or doesn't look like somebody knows what like they don't know what they're doing. Like as much as I love like the what do you call it, the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, his choreography kind of sucks, when it comes to Batman fighting. But there can be bad action in some good movies and good action in bad movies. You just gotta take the good with the bad. And yeah, as for me, I've still been playing more of the Suicide Squad, and I actually think I was playing something else, but I don't remember it now, so I must not have cared too much about what I was playing. Oh, I was playing this game called Zombie Driver?
Oh yeah, I beat that too.
Yeah,
I got all 4K.
I forgot how much it was. I got it because I think it was like $3.
You said it was $5.
It was $5.
You said $5.
It's got a shit ton of achievements that are just easy to get. They're all like worth 100 gamer score or something, right, Devin?
Yeah, 100 or more. Like
yeah. So like that, I bought that, and then I mean that was just for achievements. I'm still kind of just going through it because I'm just playing like a level here and there while I'm watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And then just playing the normal thing. I started playing more, or not playing more, but making sure that I was playing enough Gears 5 because I was right there to re-up again. Now I'm re-up 49. One more to 50. Get that achievement. It's going to be beautiful. And I think I get Heroic Cantus. I think I get the Heroic Cantus character skin. Yeah, not much has changed as well. I'm not playing anything new except for that Zombie Derby? I don't remember what it's called. I don't think it's called. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's not much. Let's you guys want to just get into basically the past week of business updates from the big three?
Let's get into it. Like, you know what?
Oh, we say the joke people are not going to understand.
Yeah.
They'll just be like, who? What? What are these idiots talking about? Yeah, so let's just go ahead and get into it. So, like I was saying earlier with the rest of us, we'll just talk about this one first. Nintendo. There were like all those rumors, reports, whatever you guys want to call them, that they were supposedly going to release their next console this year. Now it looks like they've been telling publishers, Nintendo themselves, they won't release a console until earliest March of next year. Their next console. I don't remember I don't think I saw a reason why that was the case. But yeah, now if you were looking forward to the next Nintendo console, you're gonna have to wait a little longer.
Yeah, it's probably because there's not like a big time rush, and the Switch is still selling like crazy, and it's like they don't need to make a big graphical. They're not like obviously their system graphics wise is not even close to the Series X or even the Series S and PlayStation 5, so it's like they can wait.
Yeah,
to make sure it's.
I saw like they're probably not like they obviously they want to release their next console. Just for, you got the new console, people like us who typically try to we want to get the new hotness and everything. Like, I know I'm going to want to buy it. Obviously, Devin, you're going to want to buy it too, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm going to buy probably 10 in retail money.
But, I mean, yeah, they're probably also not in too big of a rush because I'm gonna get this number wrong.
Make sure it's good first.
They probably that Nintendo does have the like. Aside from Pokemon, they don't typically release games that are or things just in general that have like a lot of issues. But I think they're also not really in a hurry because, like, what was it? They're at like 133 million or something sold on the
Yeah.
Switches. Like, they could still sell more. There's still gonna be people who are like, you know what? I need to buy a Switch. I need to buy a Switch. I haven't bought one, or maybe I need to buy another one. Stuff like that. So maybe they're just still not in a hurry because they're like, you know what? We could still sell more of these. And you never know, like maybe they have like an expectation that they're gonna sell. I want to say maybe they need what? If they're at 133, if I'm remembering correctly, they need about what, 22 million? Because I want to say the PlayStation 2, which is the highest selling console of all time, is like at 155 million, right? I'd have to look it up, but I want to say like that was what the PlayStation 2 is at. And that the PlayStation 2 obviously helped, it was helped to their sales or whatever, because it was also a DVD player that helped. The Switch, the Switch being a handheld obviously has made it a major, like, oh yeah, we're gonna sell these things like fucking hotcakes. Yeah.
We've got shit to do.
Then they don't need to rush it. If they need to still work on it, I'm fine waiting too. JJ, what you got any thoughts on their next console, when it's supposed to come out, or what's going on with it?
Fuck. I probably would just first. If I can do real quick, I'm gonna be eating something real quick.
Okay, no, you're good. You're good.
My bad. I haven't eaten anything all day. I'm trying to eat this sandwich real quick.
No, you're good. Holy
Probably
shit.
actually, I just shoved the whole sandwich in my mouth.
No, but yeah, Devin.
Go ahead,
I mean, it's the Switch. Whatever they sell, or whatever they come out with, like, it's gonna sell. It's going to sell, right? Like, I mean,
Well, unless it's the Wii U, which
yeah.
I mean, like, because the Wii U came out and people were like, "This is not what we want."
Okay.
I don't understand. Like, I don't know. I try to understand why the Wii U wasn't a big seller, and I get it at points, but then at the same time, I don't get it because,
Well, they made no games for it. There was no games, so
yeah, I guess that's
maybe
true.
they're pushing it. Maybe the thing that they're pushing it back for is just to align with some
Their next big-
actual,
Yeah.
like, with some actual games. Like, how cool would it be if the Switch 2 launched with a new Metroid?
Metroid 4.
I mean,
tight.
yeah. How long has Metroid Prime 4 been in development now?
Well, I mean, it depends when you count, like, because they had to, like,
Yeah, they basically started over from
yeah,
scratch, right?
they took it away from the one developer and they were just like, nah, you guys aren't it.
And so like
they saw whatever they were building and they were like, nah, this ain't it. This ain't it.
Yeah, so like they gave it to someone else to develop, and they started over completely from scratch. So that I want to say that was like 2 or 3 years ago itself, right? Maybe 4?
Yeah, like I remember Amazon canceled my pre-order. It was I pre-ordered it like I think when I was still living like in Portland. Like they fucking canceled it. But I had it because this is back when like Amazon was doing like 20% discounts on pre-orders. But they finally like canceled it like a year ago. But I was like, I'll just keep it, just because it was gonna be like $48. So but they finally canceled it. So yeah, I would, and they haven't done that like 20%. That like they did it. They stopped doing it like 5 years ago. So like I had a pre-order for Metroid for like 5 years or something.
Yeah, for a while. Yeah, they announced that shit a while ago. Like, yeah.
Yeah, like early on in the Switch's.
So yeah, I mean, that would make sense. That like, maybe that's what it is. that they're like, okay, so whoever's like I forgot who's the developer now, is like, okay, so when maybe the Nintendo higher ups are like, when is this gonna come out? Oh, it's gonna come out by this time, or whatever, around this next year or whatever. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're like, okay, well, let's push the Switch 2
Because I
back.
think that's the issue. I think they learned from the Wii U that they need like launch titles and not just like, oh, we have like remakes or stuff that's coming out, or we got a Mario side-scrolling game. It's like I could just play my Mario. Like if you played like a Switch Mario side-scroller, or if you played like a different one, like they're pretty much the same. Like you need, and that's why they had. I mean, Breath of the Wild was a launch title. Like that was huge. And I think that's the reason why the Switch sold so well. So
Well, I mean,
they
like,
need another Zelda, but they
there was that whole report or whatever. Basically, people were buying Breath of the Wild before they had a Switch, because there was like that whole. Remember, the amount of Breath of the Wild copies sold was greater than the amount of Switches sold. So like people were like,
Yeah.
okay, when I'm able to get a Switch, this is the game I want to play. Like this, I have this game ready to fucking like pop into my Switch. I mean, when I bought a Switch, it took like maybe a year and a half, 2 years after. I did wait to get a Switch. That was the first game I got. Like that was the game I got with it. Even though I was obviously late to the party, I was like, I'm getting Breath of the Wild. And obviously when Tears of the Kingdom came out, like I got that right away because Zelda games are gonna Zelda games
so.
sell. Yeah, that's Zelda and Mario. If you can have those games, it's typically
Zelda came out, right? Obviously for launch title. Then like Mario Odyssey came out later that year.
You know what? Yeah, right?
Right?
Yeah, Mario Odyssey did come out
And
literally that
Odyssey
same year.
is like really fucking good. Everybody's waiting for Odyssey 2. That's how good it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're
But,
right.
Yeah,
Odyssey
if
did
the
come
Switch
out
2
that
gets a
same year.
good launch title like Metroid, maybe or Mario Odyssey 2 or some shit like that. That'd be
I don't
pretty
know.
gnarly.
So
I think like there's no Switch games. For Wii U, there was no like really good launch title, and it's just too gimmicky at that point with the whole. Oh yeah, when you make a game, you got to use the gamepad to play, and I think that's what turned off a lot of
no,
people.
you didn't
It's like,
have to use the gamepad. There was just a lot of games that like had features. I think that that was probably like the biggest issue, with the Wii U, is that like
It's because everyone thought the gamepad you could. Everyone with the way the Switch is now, that's what everyone thought the Wii. Everyone, because JJ and I experienced this with everyone coming into GameStop. That's what everyone thought. They were like, "Oh, we can just take this on the go, like, and we can play the game. Like, we put the disc in there, we can play it. Like, and it's like, no, you have to be within like X amount of feet of your system, or you're fucked. And it's only certain games. Certain games use it as like a companion thing. Like I remember, like with Zombie U, it was like your inventory and shit. Like you couldn't that game. You still needed TV, but like I know Super Mario Bros. U, like one person could use the gamepad and like create platforms and stuff and help their buddies out and stuff like that. But it wasn't like every game you could play on the gamepad. So like, but the way the Switch is now, that's what everyone thought the Wii U was. That came into GameStop and they're like, oh, that's dumb.
yeah,
Like when we told them like that's not how it works.
kind of like with the PlayStation Portal. I know a lot of people thought that it was going to be something you could just like take around.
Like yeah, basically like a PSP. Everyone thought that was gonna be like a PSP. But it's like
No, I'm saying like the PlayStation Portal. Like, I know I saw a lot of people online who didn't understand what that was, because it's basically what the Switch, the Wii U gamepad is. It's like, oh, keep it in near your TV so you can play your PlayStation games.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. We're at least over a year, over a year till the next Nintendo console. They haven't even. Obviously, this means
Just
though,
play. Please, for the love of God, just play regular. Like I want to be able to play my Switch games though.
Oh, I know. That is a major thing. I'm like, please.
It's just like, please, Nintendo. Like, it's obviously from the Wii and the Wii U, like those played the same, but then they switched it up for the Switch. Pun intended, I guess. And then it's like, just for the love of God, please.
Let us give
Please
us
don't
backwards
make me-
compatibility.
Yeah. If you guys have to change the cartridge slot to like make your games higher resolution, have 2 slots in there. Like, please don't.
Yeah, because we
Fuck
know that
everyone.
they won't do anything where it's like, okay, well, now we're gonna have
Yeah.
like a different, maybe like I don't know, like remember the UMDs or whatever for the PlayStation Portable? Like now we have to have these because it'll give us more computing power. Like they're not gonna do something where it's like, oh, but confirm your Switch game and you get like the digital version of it or something. They're not gonna do anything like that. This is Nintendo we're talking about. They, as we talked about in a previous podcast, they they still
Do
sell
things their
games
own
for
way.
fucking $60. Like they don't care. They're not gonna what's the word? Be nice and give us like a what's the word? Like an upgrade or something, like a free upgrade, or even like maybe a $10 upgrade or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that, but like that also like causes issues too because, if you still have to use the PlayStation or the Switch cartridges, like are they you can't really make the games that much more powerful or make the games that much better looking because you have like a certain
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They need to go like have you can just do the like Xbox and PlayStation route where a shit ton has to be like downloaded on the console. Because I mean, there's plenty of games where it's like there's not much information on the disc itself.
well, I mean, like
You have to download a ton.
we've talked about this. We've talked about this. The Halo Infinite
Yeah.
disc is literally just like like just to start up the game, basically. If you
Yeah.
want to play, it's like
basically a CD code. It's basically a CD code.
yeah. So like, yeah. I mean, if that's what they have to do, I'm fine with that.
Stairs.
You know.
Now
Yeah, because you can buy terabyte like SSDs, like micro, like
Yeah.
I mean, I think I have
You
one
can get
for
them for
my
like
fucking
$50.
exactly. Like if that's what it takes, like I don't care if I have to spend extra money.
For
To
more
make my
memory
game
and everything.
better.
Yeah.
200.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you're right. Like. We've talked about this on a previous podcast too. Like, we want backwards
I know, I'm
compatibility. Like,
I just want to put it on the universe that like please don't.
keep putting it out there. Yeah, backwards compatibility. Like that was one thing that I really loved about when I bought my Series X. All the shit I had on my Xbox One. Can play it on my Series X. There was no like, oh, well that sucks. I have this game, but now I can't play it. Like, I mean, we'll get into PlayStation later on or next. But like, I wish PlayStation would just be like, hey, you know what? We figured it out, and here's your PlayStation 3 games. Only digital. You can only play them digital. You can't play the disc. But here's all the PlayStation 3 games. So if you bought like a digital, like I have the God of War collection. I bought it on PlayStation 3. I had it digital. I want to play that game. I know I can stream it. I know it's on like the PlayStation Now. Well, no. So
Streaming sucks though.
yeah, exactly. I don't want to do that. But actually, no. They don't even have like the PSP games. Ghost of Sparta. What was the other one called?
And what was it that one called? Ghost of Sparta and
I'm blanking on the other name. The two PSP games you can't play. They're not
Chains of Olympus, right?
Chains of Olympus. Yeah, you're right. Chains of Olympus. So those games you can't play through PlayStation Now. You can play God of War 1, 2, 3, and Ascension, but you can't play Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta. Those are not on PlayStation Now. So yeah, like that's why I'm super. You see these people online who are like, "Oh, really? You bought a new console to play old games?" It's like, okay, maybe you don't want to play old games, but like every so often, I would love to go back.
You bought a $3,000 PC to play an indie game?
Exactly. Yeah, it's the same people who are like, it's like I spent $2,000. Oh, what game do you play on it? Minecraft. Okay. Like, all right. Like, what?
Get off your RuneScape.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, I play a lot of.
Computer for RuneScape.
I don't know. Yeah, for
But it's
me,
fucking
like,
nice, dude.
if I can go back to the old God of War games, because look, I like God of War and God of
Game
War, or God of War
But it's the
2018.
same thing with anything. It's like you bought a brand new TV. It's like, so what? If I want to watch a classic movie, I can't. Like I can only watch like I don't know, like I can't watch.
Only movies that are in
Like, I don't know
full
if I-
4K.
Yeah, like if I want to watch like even like Godfather, like just because it's like old and outdated, I can't watch Godfather because I got a new TV and it's not Fast and the Furious. That's got the best like VFX. Like I can't watch that.
I don't know about Fast and Furious having the best VFX, but I know what you're
Okay,
talking
well
about.
I know it's not the best, but I'm just saying like a movie that's got like high, like they spend a lot of money on visual.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I don't know.
Just trying to pull like movies and things that I might.
Yeah, so
buy.
basically,
Like Barbie.
basically, Barbie, exactly. Or like the new Planet of the Apes movies. Oh, even actually, like that first remake Planet of the Apes movie. Holy shit, man! Like, they did some good work with the CGI in that.
Mhm. A lot better than the Marky Mark one.
Hey, man, don't say that. That's not cool. No, I don't know. Yeah, so that's the Switch stuff. It is. We're still waiting, and we'll still be waiting until earliest March of next year. Okay. Well, now for the second part of this. Now, where we talk about PlayStation. They're not talking about a new console.
PlayStation.
They're not talking about a new console just yet. But they had their stuff. So it's a few different things. I'll just go through all of it, and then we'll just discuss each one, or just discuss it all in bulk. So we'll go with the first thing, I guess, is that this one, I guess, to me is a little bit more important. They're not releasing. They say they're not going to be releasing any games in their major franchises. Coincidentally enough, until fiscal quarter of next year, whatever. Remember, white person speak. Like I said earlier before we started recording. So no new games in God of War, Spider-Man, Last of Us. Those doesn't mean that they're not going to release first-party titles. They're just not going to release anything
There's
major.
no sequels,
Yeah, no sequels to
basically.
yeah.
So like technically Wolverine could get released.
Well, I mean, there was that leak, like Wolverine's not out until like 2 years from now or something.
Yeah, I know, like, but that's like technically things like that where it's like.
And actually, I
first-party-
think according to that leak, they consider Wolverine like a sequel, like a pseudo sequel to Spider-Man, because it's all gonna connect or something.
Mhm.
Because it's all part of because it's gonna lead into. Okay, for anyone who hasn't seen the leak or doesn't want to know, like maybe skip ahead like 10 minutes, just maybe 5 minutes, because the Wolverine game is going to lead into like an X-Men game, and so because it was leading into an X-Men game, like they don't even consider like the Wolverine game as like part one of that series. It's just part of like, oh, these are the games we're making, and it's all Marvel shit, and because it's all connected. X-Men was like a sequel to Wolverine, which was was a sequel to Spider-Man, and Venom's. It's kind of complicated. So, I mean, that could be part of all this. They consider it a sequel. It's not just yet. But I don't know. Like, Sony's got, whatever wording they're going to use, whatever their plans are, is their plans. Yeah, what is going on right here? Does anyone else see this zombie just spazzing out right here? um,
I'm up on the 3rd floor, so.
so also the Sony boss, not PlayStation. He's a Sony figurehead. He's saying that PlayStation has room for improvement when it comes to development costs. There was a couple other things I'm not remembering. Oh, yeah. PlayStation also is subduing their expectations from 25 million sold to 21 million sold for this fiscal year, which ends March of this year. And then they've also said that PlayStation is basically entering the latter part of its life. Is that latter stage of its life? Is that was the exact wording? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a lot going on with PlayStation. You know, they didn't expect to sell. They expected to sell so much. Now they don't expect it. They're talking about cutting costs in developing games. They're talking about not releasing sequels or entries in major franchises. And they're talking about, basically we're coming to the end of this gen, for at least for PlayStation. So yeah, that's a lot. There's a lot to take in. Just what are your guys' thoughts? JJ, we'll go with you since you were kind of busy last time with your sandwich. And it looks like he's busy again. All right, Devin, go ahead. What do you got? What are your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of wild to think that like we're already nearing the end stage of the PlayStation, like, because there really hasn't been like, I mean, if you think about it, like they started out strong and like, I mean, because like technically we didn't even get like a God of War this generation, technically, like in this PlayStation. I know we got like
We got God of War Ragnarok, but
God
it
of
wasn't
War-
a
God of-
PlayStation 5 game.
it wasn't
I
a
don't-
PlayStation 5 exclusive, so like I don't really consider it. It was more like there wasn't really like a lot of games that they made just specifically for the console, so it kind of sucks that I feel like the PlayStation 5 didn't get fully utilized, and now we're like gonna have to buy the PlayStation 6, and it's gonna be. I feel like the games we're gonna get for the PlayStation 6, they're gonna do the same thing because they don't want to. Because there's gonna be so many people that they're gonna be like, oh yeah, there's so many people that have PlayStation 5. We don't want to alienate them, just like what they did there. Because there's so many people that have PlayStation 4. We don't want to alienate them. And then we're gonna get PlayStation 6 games that are also going to be like on the PlayStation 5. It's like, well, shit. When am I gonna get a PlayStation 6 game that looks like a PlayStation 6 game? So that's the part that's kind of sucks. But I mean, it is what it is.
My thing is, I'm okay with that if they're gonna be like, look, it's on the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 6. If like we just like, okay, so scenario, next.
But there needs to be like a true. It needs to look like a true difference because the problem is
just live service games, right? Like Destiny's is like they're not gonna cut off the last gen people, so there's people just playing that stuff.
That's a different case. Like that's like a game that's
them
like,
last 10 people.
But you can't like make a game and split your community like that. It's just super
No,
hard. And
what-
of course you
no,
want to make a really good
no.
Destiny.
What Devin is talking about, it's not like, okay, like let's say, yeah, like Destiny. You don't want to make Destiny now like, oh, PlayStation 6 Series X2 exclusive, the next Destiny game or whatever. He's talking about like the next God of War game. Let's say they make the next God of War game and it comes out like 4 years from now. So we have PlayStation 6 and PlayStation 5. But because, as he's saying, they don't want to just be like, well, fuck the PlayStation 5 users who haven't moved over, to the PlayStation 6. We have to like cater to them as well because they've only sold maybe about 10 million PlayStation 6s, but they have, I think I saw there's a report they've sold like 77 million PlayStation 5. So he's talking about like, well, okay, we have like maybe by that time we have 90 million PS5s out there and only about 10 million PS6s. So we're gonna have to make this game compatible to work on the PlayStation 5 as well. meaning that we don't get a true next gen God of War. We get a God of War that's on next gen, yes, but it's not a true next gen game. That's what you're talking about, right, Devin?
Exactly, and that's
Yeah.
what would happen this generation because God of War Ragnarok, it felt like it looked slightly like I played it on PlayStation 5 and it just looked nicer than the PlayStation 4 version. Like, but the thing is, the whole reason to get the PS5 is because it could do more than just making it look better. That's like, oh, we have the Ratchet and Clank game. We can't do it on PS4. There's only the PS5 is because we're doing that like the rifting and stuff like that. That's only possible with this. I wanted to see a game that was on like a God of War game that was only possible on the PS5. But I got a God of War game that just looked nicer than the PS4 version. Like I didn't ask for the remastered HD version. That's essentially what we got. Like, and it just that's what sucks.
Okay, I guess you're right. For the like what's like the best looking games that I can think of, hella, is fucking Demon Souls. The remaster, the remake. Like,
Yeah,
that looks literally true fucking next gen shit.
exactly.
Yeah.
And like Ratchet and Clank was one of the best looking games
Yeah, that
too. And like
I think they look pretty
those
too.
are launch titles. That's the frustrating part. And it's just like you guys I don't know, like I don't know. There needs to be no more games coming for the PS4 like that are like Sony first party or whatever. Like I don't know. At this point, fuck your old fan base. Like like if you haven't got a PS5 by now, like I'm sorry, like if third party people want to develop for your stuff, but no. We need true like next gen games. So I know that might be a controversial opinion, but I'm like, fuck it.
No,
dude.
I get where you're coming from because like when you buy, it's funny. We were disparaging like Nintendo for like, hey, don't fuck us. You know, we bought all these games for the Switch. I want to be able to play them for the Switch too.
I want it to be backwards compatible, but I still want my new exclusive shit. Like I want my new exclusive stuff that I can only play. But I do want to be able to go back and play. Like if I wanted to go back, like on Xbox, it's like, oh, I want to go back and play Gears 3. Great, I can do that. But it's like, I also want my new Gears game to only come out like it's Series XS or whatever. Like, you know, if the Gears of War like HD collection was a true thing, I don't want it to like be optimized for Xbox One users. Like, fuck that. No.
Yeah, you're gonna want it. Well, I don't know if there's a Gears HD collection that actually ends up coming out. I would believe that that's gonna be Series X and S exclusive. That's not gonna be on Xbox One.
I know,
At
but that's
this
what I'm
point-
saying. Like that's I just don't want that. Like that's like the equivalent. If you're making something for the PS4, it's also gonna work on the Xbox One, like the OG one. It's like not past.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just a hard thing because obviously we're talking about, but like we're speaking from, you know, the point of a consumer who's like, I bought this, you know, who knows how much a PlayStation 6 would cost if they would try to keep it at the $500 price point, or if they're like, hey, you know, we put a lot of, you know, shit into this. Yeah, it costs $600 or whatever. You know, so when
First
it's
thing, just say, get a second job, nerds.
yeah. So I get you, you know, coming from that whole like, hey, I spent $500 on this box. You know, give me games that make me feel like, yeah, I spent $500 on this box.
It was worth buying this $500 box.
I get you. But you know,
Like at a
you
certain
have-
point, like sure your launch titles and stuff, but like
I know, because
at this point, like I really don't think God of War should have been. They should have just said
no.
fuck everyone, like at this point, and just made it on PS5. Because a bunch of people are gonna get it. Like I don't know, people bought Switches to play the new Zelda games. Like
I mean,
fuck it.
they like
When Demon Souls was like saying like, oh, it's a launch title for PS5. I bought a PS5 first over an Xbox for a while because like I wanted to play it. You know, you got people that really want to play the game. We'll buy your console.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Devin, you're a hardcore like God of War fan. If you like,
know what?
like,
I
oh,
mean,
it's launched
yeah,
title,
that's the
it would
thing.
Purely be beautiful looking. Like, yeah, I'm buying that instant. 100%.
So, Devin's not wrong in that, like, when you buy a console, like, hey, have games that are basically specific to that console and make that purchase. Because, like, I get it because, like, I'm a person that, like I've said before on previous podcasts, I've said it numerous times already. We're all Xbox guys, like, when it comes to what console we want to use. Although, I guess JJ said he did get a PS5 first, apparently. But when it comes to our console of choice, but like when it comes to our console of choice, it's Xbox. So yeah, like, you know, we're gonna buy. You know, I bought an Xbox. As soon as I could, I bought a Series X. That was what I wanted. That's what I play on. That's my console of choice. When it comes to PlayStation 5, yeah, I took a while for me to buy a PlayStation 5 because I was like, what do I want to play on it? There wasn't anything I really wanted to play on PlayStation until that God of War came out. And I could have just been like, you know, PlayStation 4 works. Because, you know, until God of War came out, because, yeah, but it was on PlayStation 4. I could have just been like, you know, I'll just buy a used PlayStation 4. I could play both God of War games on it and yada, yada, yada. So I get it. Like, I do get it, you know. Especially as someone who comes at it from the point of view of, like, I don't play PlayStation as much as I play Xbox. So if I'm going to spend $500 or, you know, it's $400, right, for the digital version, you know,
Yeah.
give me a game that I'm going to want to play. And yeah. Cuz like what? Okay, so what is
I'm
it?
trying to think of what was the launch title for the Series X anyway. Like, I think it's just a whole bunch of shit that's like that came out for both consoles anyway.
I mean, both of them.
Yeah,
There
everything
was
was
like
no.
Like,
So
it was
everything
supposed
was
to be
better
Halo Infinite,
optimized.
but it got pushed back, right? Yeah,
So-
like, another year.
I'm trying to remember because Series X did have games that were specific to just the Series X console. I don't think it was any first-party games, and
Yeah, because Halo got pushed back. That was like the big thing until everybody like laughed at it.
I'd
So,
have
like,
to look at
I
a
don't know.
list.
Like, there's not really anything crazy. Like I said, I just saw Valhalla,
so-
Borderlands 3.
Here's the
Like, there's
thing.
not really anything.
Here's the
else coming
thing.
out.
But here's the thing. Like, I think for Nintendo, it's probably important that they have, like, you know, like we were talking about it. Like, it needs to have, like, a Metroid Prime 4, a Legend of Zelda, a Mario game, because Nintendo's, you know, even at the next Nintendo console, you know, it's not going to be as powerful as even a Series X and S, apparently. Like, it's going to be maybe a little bit more comparable to a Series S, but it's not going to be super powerful. So that leads to a lot of third parties not releasing games on their consoles. So you need to have that strong first party, which is, you know, like Devin said earlier, that's what happened to the Wii U. They didn't really release like games on the Wii U. So you have to have a strong first party outing, or, you know, release schedule, period, to be like, okay, buy our Switch, buy our Nintendo console. But when it comes to, you know, Xbox and PlayStation, you're never gonna be like, well, is the next Assassin's Creed game gonna be on it? Is the next Call of Duty game gonna be on it? Is the next Need for Speed game? I'm trying to think of a high profile franchise. Basically, is the next, huh?
Like Fortnite, Destiny, all this other shit. Like the people that we can play on older
Yeah.
consoles. I think that's the reason why, like I know I was saying, like, Devin was talking about, like, you know, he wants to play an actual next gen, like, God of War, but I think so many people just don't buy new. Well, obviously, but again, PS5 sold like 21 million. But it's just easier just to keep the new console.
No,
And just play that one free game.
PS5
like,
is up to 77 million like total sales. They for this
That's
like quarter they
Oh, yeah,
expect to only
physical,
sell 20.
sorry.
They only expect to sell like 21 million for like
Only.
this.
Like,
I
there's
know,
so many consoles.
So yeah,
I really want to see those games with. Oh fuck.
but I'm saying
But
I think
I
that's
just feel like everybody's playing those games.
I'm saying I think that's why it gets hard for Xbox and PlayStation when it comes to like, okay, we're gonna release, because they can kind of fall back on like, oh, like when the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 came out. They could be like, well, you know, we can kind of wait to release some games because a game like Arkham Knight only on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. That wasn't on the 360 and PS3. So I mean, like you get, and then like yeah, you know, Call of Duty released. I think they went a little quicker and like, hey, yeah, we're not gonna release games like when it came to the Xbox One and what do you call it generation, PS4 generation. I think they were a little bit quicker. Like they're still releasing games on Xbox One and PS4, but like they kind of stopped like 2 or 3 games in when from the 360 to the one generation.
The last one was more like, hey, it only has multiplayer. There's no campaign for this. Make it just faster for like the old gen. I
Yeah,
think what Call of Duty that was. Fuck, I can't remember.
I
I think it was one of the Black Ops. I think Black Ops 4.
think
I think it was only
yeah, Black
multiplayer.
Ops 4. Black Ops 4 was only multiplayer. That and
And zombies. I think that's it.
we'll have Blackout their battle royale, their first foray into it. I kind of like that better than Warzone. I just like that it had like, you know, different maps on a giant map, and it just was more simple.
Warzone is. It's a bunch of other maps into one big map.
Well, that one was specific, like it had like Nuketown on it, and it had like what was that
Yeah,
mansion map?
Warzone has other stuff too. Verdansk had like shipment and like fuck, a lot of COD 4 maps onto it. And the new one has high rise and some other shit from Modern Warfare 2 maps.
Mm. I don't know. Watermelon.
Then go ahead.
No, like I'm just saying. I don't expect when the PlayStation 6 and the Series X, S2 or whatever Xbox does. I'm assuming they're gonna. Honestly, I have no idea what Xbox will do. They've not had a.
The naming convention
Yeah.
is
It's just Xbox 360,
Infinite.
Xbox One, Xbox Series X. Like, yeah, they don't have like. I mean, Nintendo kind of does the same thing too, but I don't know. It's just a lot weirder when it comes to Xbox. When next gen Xbox and PlayStation come out, I don't expect them. Like, what was the first true Xbox exclusive that was only on Series X? It was Halo Infinite, right? That released in 2021. The consoles came out in 2018.
Well, when did Hellblade come out?
The first Hellblade?
Yeah.
1920.
But that was on Xbox One, and that wasn't exclusive. That was on PlayStation.
Is it? Oh. Shows how much I remember about that game.
So like, yeah, the first one was like Halo Infinite. First like true like, this is an Xbox exclusive that you are not going to be able to get on Xbox One. That came out 3 years after the console. Then of course now we have like Starfield. I'm pretty sure, you know, Indiana Jones and Hellblade 2. Like, these games are, you know, Avowed. Next Fable. Was Grounded on Xbox One? Yeah, no, that started on Xbox One, right?
Yeah, it's not fun.
I don't remember when that game even came out, so. And then what was the first? I guess it. Yeah, Ratchet & Clank wasn't on PlayStation 4, right?
No.
And that one is Flight Simulator. And it's also only for the new one.
Oh, I
Yeah.
guess I mean, yeah, I guess that would.
There's no way they're original Xbox on Xbox.
Yeah,
One.
Xbox One.
No.
No. It was on Xbox One, but you could only stream it.
Yeah.
It was like I think, and it wasn't like, oh, this is like because of Game Pass. It was like, or not because of, I mean, yes, it was because of Game Pass, but it was like you could play it on Xbox One, but you couldn't, like, it wasn't like a downloadable version, or like you could buy it physically. You had to play it through their Game Pass, like, cloud gaming on Xbox One. So you could play it on Xbox One streaming. But I mean, you could technically say, yeah, that's the first like Series X game that was like specific to Series X, like, because yeah, you can just download that game and play it. I don't know when that game came out. I don't remember. Was that like 2019 or 2020? Whenever that game came out, because yeah, the consoles came out in like 2018, right?
The consoles came out in like
Flight
2019.
Simulator.
Was it 2019?
Pretty sure it was like right before the pandemic, and then
Yeah.
I'm like
I think so.
pretty sure it was 2019.
Well, whatever it was, yeah, like it. We're just not going to see, especially, I don't know. The thing is, like, I just don't expect to see too many like exclusive games on, you know, that are exclusively on the next gen versions of consoles, because like we are getting to a point with these new consoles where like the power upgrade or the power like jump is just so minimal. Like, I mean, honestly, I still like, you know, I look at a game like Starfield or the Ratchet and Clank. Spider-Man 2, is that on PlayStation 4? That's not on PlayStation 4, right? That's only on
No.
PlayStation. I look at a game like I look at those games, or even Suicide Squad. Like, that's the thing. You were talking about, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago? Yeah, it was last week when we were talking about Suicide Squad. You're like how good it looks. Like, that game looks great
Mhm.
and all stuff. But the thing is, like, Arkham Knight looks better, I believe.
No, it doesn't.
Like
I think so.
videos
No.
that looks like, but again, it's got to be like PC.
Well,
shit,
Arkham-
you know?
Yeah, Arkham Knight on PC probably like may look better. But Arkham Knight on console only runs 30 frames, so it looks like dog shit in comparison.
I mean, and I was thinking about like, I don't know if it's like it's okay for them to be like ass, but like, I feel like Suicide Squad has so much more shit going on. They can't like hella like get too in depth, maybe, you know, of graphic wise. While Batman Arkham's just literally just Batman, and can just have like a couple guys, you know. You don't have like things flying in the air, jumping around, throwing a
Yeah,
boomerang
I will
and shit like that. King
I
running
will
around
say
and shit
that.
like that.
Yeah, I will say that there was not as much. Like, Suicide Squad has to compute more than Arkham Knight had to, I think. With, like, you know, you have to worry about, like, oh, at least four, not at least, but like up to a maximum of 4 players, you know, playing a game. And, you know, they wanted to maintain 60 frames. They clearly wanted to maintain 60 frames per second. So yeah, I can, like, what's the word, like, just, yeah, maybe to me, yeah, Arkham Knight does look better, but like Arkham Knight didn't need to push as much when it came to what they were doing with that game. It's a contained experience, whereas obviously, like I said, because it being a multiplayer game, especially a, you know, a looter shooter, an online persistent looter shooter, there needs to be some concessions made. That maybe it runs at 60 frames, but I don't think it looks as good as like Arkham Knight. But it definitely runs better and has a lot more going on within the game or whatever. So, I don't know. I just look at certain games that are like, oh, they're only on this gen, and I'm just like, okay. Doesn't look like, Starfield looks great, but like, Gears of War 5 looked, when I played on Xbox One, looked great too, just as good. And obviously the Series X version of Gears 5 looks fucking great. So like, I don't know. That's just my opinion, I guess. So that's why I just don't, I don't see them. I just think they're just gonna take their time when it comes to like when PlayStation 6 and X2 come out. Like, okay, here's a game that is only on these consoles, or on our console, our new version, our new gen console. I don't know. We're spending too much time talking about this. We're kind of just now talking about one thing over and over and over. Let's go ahead and just move into the Xbox portion of all these business updates.
Just real quick, just so you guys know, stop just killing zombies. You gotta boot them off the fucking roof.
Oh, okay.
I know reading is hard.
Well, we're kind of, doing something. We're a little distracted. That's the whole point of playing these brain dead games.
I know, but I don't want to be just on mission all night.
Okay.
Yeah, I did it.
Anyways,
Well,
there we go.
we did it.
So, Xbox. Here's the probably where we're gonna really get the real meat of the podcast going. So, what is it? It's been like a month and a half now of all these like rumors and everything going on with like Xbox is gonna go third party. There was that, we talked about it last week. There were the reports of like Starfield, Hi-Fi Rush, basically everything was gonna start going to like PlayStation and the Switch. And then there was the guy who first started not reporting on the rumors, but like talking about the rumors, Nate the Hate, saying last week that like actually it looks like this is wrong. This isn't the reality of it. I got bad information. It doesn't matter. Regardless, Xbox last week or a couple weeks ago said, okay, so next week we're talking about this. Last Thursday. And that they did. They talked about it. And so, I don't know. It ended up being, I don't want to say it was like, okay, they talked about it. It was a lot of nothing. There was something. But in the end, it is the internet. Everything is always so hyperbolic. So it wasn't as dire as like if you read a lot of the stuff online on social media, it wasn't as dire as a lot of people were making it out. It was just
Knocker.
yeah. So when it comes to the whole third party thing, we'll just get that out of the way. It's a yes and no. They're gonna release 4 games. They didn't name them. So there's that. They said something about like, they have plans to announce all that kind of stuff later. So I guess because they did announce too, right? They said this during this podcast that they were gonna have something in June, right? That's when they said this. They said that.
Essentially they're E3.
So they probably do like they're gonna talk about those games maybe up to that point, or when they do. Yeah, it's not E3 anymore, but when they have
It'll be
their
their
June,
E3,
yeah,
essentially.
their June showing. Yeah, it is. So it's 4 games. They did say that all the games are like older than a year. 2 of them were smaller
Just
games.
these.
Yeah, so they said 2 smaller games and 2 bigger games that were like something about like they could be monetized, I guess, or something to that effect. Which there was, yeah. Hi-Fi Rush was like the main one that everyone was talking about. So that would probably fall under the category of the smaller game. And then Pentiment was another one. That's probably the other one for the small games. And then as for like the bigger games that they're gonna have release on PlayStation, I should not have done that. Probably Sea of Thieves, because that game you can monetize. You know, it's a live service game. I don't even know what the other game would be for the other bigger game. Like, I just have no idea. They also announced, what they talked about. They're making another console. They said it, and the next one is going to be the biggest leap in generational hardware ever. They say that every time. What are the Game Pass is still going to be a focus. They're still going to be.
It's going to be Xbox only.
Yeah, and they're still going to be releasing. Because part of some of the rumors coming around was that like maybe they were going to stop releasing games day one on Game Pass. They said they're still going to do that. That's still, happening. They straight said it. The Indiana Jones game and Starfield, those are not releasing. They did kind of say like, as of now they're not releasing on other consoles. It's Xbox, which maybe Indiana Jones specifically they might want to release, or maybe Starfield. As I've said on previous podcast episodes, I think with Bethesda you could kind of make the case of like releasing them as almost releasing games from them as like a third party thing. And yeah, they still plan on they want to have exclusives, like Xbox exclusives. They did say that with these 4 games, this necessarily wasn't a promise that there was going to be future games released on other consoles. So, it probably is dependent on what PlayStation will want to do, because you never know.
And Nintendo.
And Nintendo. If they're willing to play ball and be like, okay, so you're releasing games on our console, we're gonna, maybe they don't really advertise not Starfield, but if Sea of Thieves gets released and other stuff, maybe they don't really advertise, and then Xbox sees, yeah, we didn't really make a lot of money, releasing these games. Yeah, we're not releasing anymore. Because that was something that Phil Spencer said in this podcast, that this is about the health of Xbox. When it comes to making money, basically, and he sees things like exclusives being a smaller and smaller thing. Which when you look at what we were talking about with PlayStation, how they were talking about PlayStation has room for improvement to cut development costs, because there was something about the Spider-Man game cost $200-300 million or something to make. It was super expensive, so they it needed to sell a lot. I mean, it's a Spider-Man game, I wouldn't, it's gonna sell a lot, but games are getting expensive to make, more and more, and they've raised the prices recently. I think Capcom's basically
Dragon's Dogma is going to be at $70, and they're basically saying they're going to evaluate if that's what they need to do for the future.
They're like the last. They're like the last publisher. It looks like, right? That's okay. We're gonna sell games at $70 as well.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of it,
Hey,
when console makers sell their consoles, there's that whole they don't make money on consoles until a certain point, and obviously with companies I've from other podcasts I listen to and what I've seen online, like the chip maker, AMD, has been wanting more money from both companies, to provide the chips for their computing power and all that stuff. So like clearly, it's costing a lot to make these consoles, and they're not, they're not doing the whole $599. They're still, they're trying to get it to us as cheap as they can. Obviously, a lot of times that's $500. So in the end, I get why Microsoft is like, we're gonna release these 4 games, and I see it as them testing the waters. And if they start releasing more games on other consoles, like I see why they have to do it. But I'll give more words to my opinion on this, but I do want to hear what you guys think. JJ, now we'll start with you.
Like that? Or in the Xbox stuff?
The Xbox stuff, yeah. Please tell me.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. It's just. It's just. I'm trying. I was honestly trying to research it right now and try to look up what a 4th game would be. But but they also announced that Diablo 4 was also going to be on Game Pass, right, as well in
For Game
March.
Pass
Oh
Ultimate.
yeah, I forgot to mention that. Was it March 28th? They're going to start
End of March,
Diablo
yeah.
4. Diablo 4 is going to release on Game Pass March 28th. That's signaling the start of Activision games being added to Game Pass. I kind of like that. It seems like, okay, so one game. Because remember when they released Bethesda games, they kind of just started like dumping them right away. Like, okay, here's a bunch of games, here's a bunch of games, here's a bunch of games. Maybe they're gonna start
old school games.
Yeah, maybe they're gonna start like, okay, slowly releasing Activision games. Not one at a time, but like, okay, here's Diablo 4, and the next time they release a game, it'll be like, okay, here's maybe not Call of Duty, but like, honestly, I wouldn't know. It's not like Activision had a lot. Maybe like the next drop of games is gonna be games, and it's like, here's like,
That's what I love about us, Carl. Always giving
the previous Diablos that were on consoles. Stuff like that. I don't know. But that's basically.
Maybe. Do you think you could maybe like call? I know this is probably a long shot at talking on my ass, but like, that's the point of this, I guess. But Call of Duty for Game Pass is like, hey, you get the campaign or some shit. That'd be pretty cool. To play. But
I don't think
do
they
the
could.
whole can't buy the game, get the campaign a month early or some shit.
Honestly,
just-
I don't think that they would do something like that because
I'm trying to think of something they would do for Call of Duty, like except
I
fucking
just-
exclusive skins and shit.
I don't know, because I think that runs the
I don't know what
risk
else
of
you can do
like.
with it.
Well, no, because I think that runs the risk of like, because they have Warzone. That like, if you have Game Pass, you get to play the campaign. That like, at that point, what's the point of buying a Call of Duty? Because Warzone's so huge that if someone could just play the campaign and then be like, all right, cool, I played the new campaign, I don't really need to play the multiplayer because I'll just play more Warzone. That like, at that point, I'm not saying that this would happen. It just seems like it could run the risk of like, now nobody will want. Well, maybe for Xbox specifically. I guess it doesn't matter for
Xbox. Still
Xbox.
buy the game. They just play Warzone.
I guess it doesn't really matter for Xbox because, yeah. And maybe actually what you're talking about could drive more people to be like, okay, you know what? I want to keep playing Warzone, and because the game is like, it's cross save and all that stuff. Maybe that might convince people to be like, I'll just buy a Series S, and now I can play the campaign, and I just play Warzone anyway, and I'll just purchase
I
the Game
get
Pass.
people to buy Game Pass.
Actually, yeah, that makes a lot more sense now that I'm starting to think about it. Because I'm coming from the like, you want to sell copies of Call of Duty for $70. But like, if someone's on PlayStation, obviously they're not gonna have Game Pass. They're gonna buy it for $70. But if you're on an Xbox, oh hey, I mean, that's a good selling point, you know? Like, hey, if you're on Xbox, you can play the campaign for free. You won't be able to play the multiplayer, but you can play the campaign. And, you know, Warzone is free. Hey, why not come over and buy an Xbox and get a Game Pass subscription? That sounds like, actually, that sounds like a pretty good, you know, sounds like a pretty good strategy to me. Okay, so Devin, what about your thoughts then on all everything that happened with the Xbox update?
I think everything just got overblown, which is kind of like what we thought might happen. Like I said, like I thought it was just gonna be like a few games, and like I just didn't think that they were just gonna like hand Sony Halo and Gears of War and be like, yeah, here you guys go. You guys got these on your console too. So I don't know. It like I'm fine with it. I don't really care. Like you said, like the whole idea with Xbox, they want people to get a Game Pass, and you still can only get that on Xbox. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, yeah, like you're saying, it was only a few games. But even if they were like, hey, yeah, you know what? If they were like, we're going third party. My thing was that, like, and they still said it, they're making consoles. If they said, hey, you know what, we're going to start releasing our games on PlayStation, but we're still making a console, I would have been completely fine with that as well. Because I play on Xbox, not because, like I said, I've said this on a previous episode. Look, I love Gears. Don't get me wrong. I love Gears. But that's not the main reason I have an Xbox. The main reason I have an Xbox is because I prefer the controller. I prefer their UIs. I've always preferred their UIs. I think their online is just better. You know? And now, yeah, Game Pass. Like, having Game Pass is such a huge, just, like, thing. Yeah, like, because I have the, what is it called? PlayStation Plus Premium? Is that the highest tier?
Mm-hmm.
I have it. And I'm just like, you know, it's cool. I have the PlayStation Now. There's games on it. But, like, I don't know, man. I want them to do what Xbox does with PlayStation Plus. Give me all your first-party games, day one.
They'll never do it.
They'll never do it. They never do it. They never do it because they make too much money. They're the #1 console, like, you know.
Anyway, so doesn't matter. And then buy the remake, the remaster version too.
Collector's edition remaster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, there are other reasons besides games. I look at the games that get released exclusively on Xbox as like, wow, there are two of these big motherfuckers right here. I look at them as like the cherries on top, basically. Because, like, you know, as I said earlier, you know, the third-party publishers are always going to release games on these consoles. And when you really look at, like, most games that people are playing, what are people playing the most? Like, when you always look at it, yeah, it's Call of Duty, Madden, Minecraft, which releases on everything. But, like, Hogwarts Legacy was the #1 game last year. That's what sold the most. That was the highest selling game. That was not an exclusive. That released on everything. When I finally see, like, oh, God of War was the #1 selling game. Last of Us was the #1 selling game for the year. Gears of War was Halo, whatever. When I finally see that, then I can be like, oh yeah, exclusives are a huge deal. Till then, I just don't think they're that big of a deal. They're nice to have, you know, but, like, you know, when it comes to the maybe not casual gamer, but like to the just masses, they obviously don't care about those exclusives. I mean, a game like Spider-Man is always going to sell, and if, you know, the more casual gamer sees like, oh, I can't play Spider-Man on Xbox, I have to play it on PlayStation, maybe that is something that pushes that person to buy a PlayStation. But it's Spider-Man, you know what I mean? There's only one console that really
Yeah, you're right. Like, I think the reason why Harry Potter sold a lot because it's the fan base for Harry Potter is insane. Like, of course, you're gonna have everybody that plays.
Well,
Like, I have my friend,
I-
not a really gamer, bought Hogwarts Legacy for that game.
Yeah, yeah. So that was probably a huge part of it too. I honestly think the reason Hogwarts Legacy, it happened to be a good game. Like I haven't played it, but it happened to be a good game. But I think what helped it,
around it too as well.
The controversy.
Putting it out there every time.
Like, it's funny how people like shit on it, but it's like it's basically an Ubisoft. Like,
yeah. So they're like, oh, the game's horrible, blah blah blah. I'm like, well, Ubisoft's like, look at my bank account. Look at my bank account.
But
You know.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, but I think that helped it so much was that controversy. You had all these people who were like, don't play Hogwarts Legacy, don't buy Hogwarts Legacy. Do that, you're supporting a bigot. And I thought that was stupid anyway, because like if you actually look at what she said, if you actually look at what fucking J.K. Rowling said, like, we're not gonna get into it, but I'm just gonna say, like, no, she was not being like transphobic or anything like that. People are just fucking morons. But like, to say like, oh, you do this, you're supporting like wrong thing. It's the Streisand effect. You can't tell people don't look behind the mirror, don't look behind the curtain, whatever it is, because what is the first thing people are gonna do? They're gonna look behind the curtain.
So you don't have to. Michael Anderson.
You tell people not to do something, their first instinct is to go and do it. That's just how people are.
yeah,
And
you
so-
tell me not to make fun of you for something, I'm gonna make fun of you instantly.
Exactly. But like, yeah, so all these people who are like, there were literally people who were just like, if you buy this game, if you play this game, you are supporting bigotry, you are supporting the murder of people, you are just as bad as murdering, you know, whatever. It's just some of the most hyperbolic, idiotic shit I've heard.
If this Jesse hung up the house keys, then what
And
are they?
I see.
you know,
He's got knocked off the hook in the struggle.
you just you hear that and yeah, you're just like, well, why is it that if I do this,
Which means he could still be
you know? And honestly too, I think the thing is, I think a lot of people are going to be like, well, no, I don't think that at all,
Some movie lot.
you know, that it's supporting bigotry or whatever it is.
Hey, Michael.
And I don't think
This is Roxanne Klein.
what J.K. Rowling said was wrong, so I'm going to play Hogwarts Legacy.
I don't want her to miss the party.
But yeah, I also think it being a Harry Potter game that has such a huge fan base. It just
Well,
be
yeah, and
like-
they're planning on doing like a Harry Potter HBO series. It's gonna be 7 seasons,
yeah.
1 year or 1 season for each fucking book.
Yeah.
Which is
But
insane.
I think, yeah, the three major factors was controversy. Yeah, it's already, you know, part of a franchise that has such a huge fan base, and then it happened to be a pretty good game. So you put all that together, it was a cacophony of things that just helped that game to just become the number one. And what the hell is going on in this game right now? So yeah, it helped it to become the number one selling game of last year. So,
You weren't kidding
but
about the river.
like I said, it's a third-party game. You know, it's not a it's not a exclusive to any console. That's third-party games are always going to be the highest-selling games every time. Every time. So yeah. So, you know, circling back to Xbox's like releasing games on other consoles, I'm completely fine with that. Like, do what they got to do to make more money. That's the thing too. I'm completely fine with them. Like, hey, we're gonna release some games on other consoles if it means that they can make more money and do more awesome shit as an Xbox brand, like to be able to keep up Game Pass and all this other shit, fucking do it. Fucking do it.
Is that cool? You're gonna play a game we played years ago?
I know. That's the other thing. That's the one thing. Like I saw this online. You know, there was a lot of guys who were like, "I've lost faith in Xbox. I'm selling my Xbox. I'm gonna play on PC only. I guess I'm just gonna be on PlayStation. If I can play the games on PlayStation, might as well play it on PlayStation. Because then I can still play PlayStation games only on PlayStation. Stuff like that, or whatever. But it's like, why is it that like this person can play a game that hurts you so much? I understand some, you know, basically something that I said earlier about like you spend $500 on this plastic box. You want to feel like your investment is not for nothing. But like, just because someone who plays on a different console can play like Gears of War, Halo, Starfield, Hi-Fi Rush, whatever it is, just because they can play it on PlayStation doesn't mean that you investing in that plastic box was the wrong choice or was a bad investment. It just means that like other people can play that game. Because you could still play that game. It's just like when people say like, "Oh, this shit ruined my childhood." It's like, no, you could just go ahead and watch that old movie or that old show, or play that old game. You know. You lose nothing in this happening. I'm still gonna be able to play Starfield. I'm still gonna be able to play Hi-Fi Rush if I feel like it. If that's one of the games that are releasing. I still can play Pentiment. I can still play Sea of Thieves on my Xbox. It's not like those games are just all of a sudden gone off Xbox, or that like now it's like a lesser experience or anything. It's just, okay, now I might have PlayStation players if I play Sea of Thieves. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. To me, it does not affect your experience, your like a person's specific experience with their console. You know, it just yeah. There's not much more I could say about that. It's just, I think it's stupid to freak out and act like the world is over for Xbox. But then yeah, like
Nowhere for other reasons.
But like we said too, it ended up being like a nothing thing. Like it was nothing. You know.
Yeah.
All that screaming
it's like,
and yelling was for naught.
Like, I know these aren't like, but they talked about it in the thing too. It was like Minecraft. I know, like, but like they've been making other Minecraft games and they release it for other consoles. So it's not like they just, when they bought Minecraft, like the Minecraft IP's been strictly on the Xbox. Like they've kept that third party after they bought Mahjong. Like they've been doing this for a while. So it's not like it's 100% out of what they're doing. Like they're
so fucking stupid to even like make that an exclusive, because it's just sold so much and just so many kids play it all the time.
But I'm saying, like, but the thing is, it's not like when they bought something, they're like, you know what, we're just gonna keep this. Now we're gonna keep it to ourselves. Like they know, Microsoft knows they need it.
Hey guys,
maybe they know that research that these
guys,
things need to do that way.
Go ahead and keep talking. I'm gonna take a piss real quick. But keep talking.
I think it's the same with Call of Duty. When everything, dude, Call of Duty's gonna be Xbox. I'm like, no, it's not. They're not gonna fucking shoot themselves in the foot just to make a game just exclusively for Xbox and like, you know, PC for Game Pass or whatever. That is so fucking stupid. You know, because a lot of people play Call of Duty on fucking PlayStation and shit like that. So it's like cutting off like, you know, like a third of their fucking income from that franchise. So dumb as shit.
Xbox cares about, like, they care about Game Pass subscribers, and that's what they keep saying it publicly, and everyone, like Sony fanboys, they keep throwing like the PlayStation outsells. They don't give a shit. Look at PC sales, or how many people have a PC. That's what Xbox cares about. That's what Microsoft. It's not even Xbox. It's what Microsoft cares about. Microsoft cares about Game Pass subscriber numbers. They want people on their platform subscribing to it. They want those people that forget that they have their subscription and keep paying them monthly or pay them for the whole year. Because there's going to be people like us that try everything and play everything. But then there's people in the middle that will play one or two things. There's people that are going to forget they have a subscription and pay Microsoft a monthly fee, or once a year they forget to cancel the subscription or whatever it is. Like that's what they're concerned about. They're not concerned about, because they're not making money off the console. I bet you Microsoft, if you ask them, would you rather have someone buy a PC or an Xbox? They're not making a ton of money off Xboxes, if any. So I guarantee they're probably saying like, we probably don't care. Like we probably rather have them buy a PC, and us, we don't need to make money, and then we just fucking sell them. They're gonna be on Game Pass. Yeah, let's do it. Who gives a shit? Like if you had to give them like sodium pentothal, like truth serum, like they probably would not give a shit. Where they're like, well, but they're on PC Game Pass Ultimate, perfect. That's all we care about.
That's honestly probably what it is. They don't care if you buy an Xbox console or play on PC. They're clearly like, as of the past 4 or 5 years, when they really started pushing for more Game Pass, that's what they want. They want people to play on. They want people to subscribe to Game Pass, which, I mean, that makes sense.
That's all they care about.
But the thing is, that makes a lot of sense. When people are like, why do they have to worry about Game Pass so much? Like, this is Microsoft. Microsoft is a services company. They've always been a services company. Like, when you buy a PC, you're not buying a Microsoft PC. Yeah, it's going to have Windows.
The OS. Yeah, OS is, but they don't give a shit about anything else.
They don't care what kind of PC
I'm like,
you
oh,
get.
you're gonna pay for 365, so we have a monthly subscription to our products. Like that's what they care about, because the OS is hella cheaper for them to sell, and they can make a ton of money. Like if you're building a PC and you have to buy an operating system, like way cheap. The operating system, they're making more money off that than they are the fucking software, or the hardware. Like if Microsoft is like, if you buy like a Surface tablet, or if you buy like a Microsoft PC itself, like they're gonna make more money off that, like just selling the OS, than they will the hardware at all.
Yeah. So like that, for me, that makes complete sense that they're like pushing for Game Pass to be like, this is the identity of Xbox. Basically, is that we are Game Pass. And we make games, yes, but we want you to subscribe to Game Pass. And so I think with them like saying that they're gonna still make consoles also plays into that, because obviously when it comes to video games, it's not the same as a PC where it's like, oh, we have the Xbox OS and Game Pass, and this guy took me out in one hit. It's not the same as in PC where it's like, if you just buy a PlayStation or like buy a console, it's gonna either have like the PlayStation OS or the Xbox OS. It's, if you're gonna buy if you want to play a Game Pass, you have to have Xbox. So I think that's why they're still like, well, we're still gonna be making consoles, because obviously we want people to subscribe to Game Pass, and like, do you really think PlayStation or Nintendo are going to allow Game Pass on their consoles? Like, maybe Nintendo...
Xbox doesn't... Yeah, maybe. But the thing is, like, can these games even, like, I don't know, they'd have to be, like, so fucking downgraded to even work on the Nintendo consoles.
Well, I think if it was, like, Nintendo was like, yeah, we'll go ahead and allow Game Pass, I think it would be, like, it's all streaming. Like, the xCloud, basically, is going to be the...
Can you imagine if you tried to stream through a Switch? Holy shit.
Dude, that's a lot of...
That they Switch too, right?
Yeah.
I think there's some games that are stream only.
Like, if you play, I think...
I'm trying to think of the game.
I think Resident Evil 4? I think it's Resident Evil 4, the remake? That's on there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Resident Evil 2, the Resident Evil 2 remake,
or the Resident Evil
3 are also
2 remake or whatever. Yeah,
like 2 and 3. Yeah, they have to be streamed.
You have to stream them, and I think Resident Evil 7.
Does it look like dog shit?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are saying it's not worth it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Kingdom Hearts is a one.
Yeah,
too.
Kingdom Hearts is also stream only, I think too.
This is a drama, darling.
So like,
I remember when
That's
that
like,
one
dude.
came out, it was fucking dog water.
On a side note, these skull fucks are kind of tough.
I'll say I think we might be in an area that we're not supposed to be in or something. That might be too high of a level. That's why they have skulls.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, until these both the other console makers are like, yeah, fuck it, put Game Pass on our console. Like, Xbox is kind of forced to continue to make Xboxes until we see a future where consoles are, I don't know, like where it becomes a thing where like consoles are not the driving force for games, I guess, when it comes to playing games. Where maybe PlayStation is like, hey, yeah, now we have just like a PlayStation OS, and Xbox and Nintendo is like, we have OSs. So it's like, you know, if you happen to, because I know Xbox wants to do it too. And I think they've already started doing it. Like, if you have a Samsung TV, you can play, you know, you could stream games through the TV.
But yeah,
It's
like
still-
Xbox has said their competition is like Google, Netflix, and those people, because Netflix is making games. Because Netflix, you can play the Grand Theft Auto games through.
Yeah.
So like, Microsoft has said time and time again, and like the Sony fanboys aren't listening, that like we do not give a shit about PlayStation sales. That's basically what they're saying. Like when they said they said it, they'll keep saying it like time and time again. Like we do not give a shit.
I mean, they
about
have said
new sales.
they did say they lost the console. Like, and like I was talking about it last week. That like, yeah, they lost the console war. They're never going to out. The 360 was their biggest chance to like completely, from the 360 to the Xbox One generation, was their chance to like grab a hold as the leader in consoles. That was their chance, and they fucked up with the Xbox One.
Yeah, but again, like I don't know if they really did, because like part of the thing is like they care about their subscribers, so it's like.
Oh, okay. Look, I don't think
Look,
they
in
fucked.
terms of consoles, but in terms of like games being played, like I don't know, like if you count PC as like Xbox, like that because like they're playing, most people are playing on a Microsoft operating system, so like the money is going to Microsoft. So it's
But I'm
like-
saying when it comes to consoles, like the consoles,
I know.
like they to grab a hold of as the leader in consoles, they had their chance because they were the number one console during the 360 generation. But then when they went from 360 to Xbox One, they messed up with trying to bring people forward. And I talked about this last week. Like Xbox, when it comes to innovation, when it comes to bringing people into the future and doing things that, you know, are going to be the future of gaming, they've basically been the number one console or number one publisher to be doing it. Like I said last week when they released the original Xbox, you know, they had the Ethernet port and people mocked them for it, thinking this isn't going to catch on. It caught on. They had the hard drive. People were like, this isn't going to catch on. It caught on. Like you were talking about last week too, Devin, with like the downloading games or whatever. People were like, I don't know about that. It caught on. The things they do catch on. Hell, always online, being connected to the, you know, to the internet constantly, to have like to have your digital library and this and that, caught on because that's the way it is now. They try to do it too early,
I'm Jesse.
but that's just like the reality of it now. Or like I said with, you know, last week when they had their like they had the camera and it's like, oh, we're gonna use voice commands to do stuff. Now you go into a lot of people's homes, they have a lot of, you know, Alexas and or whatever it is, the Alexa thing, the Siri things, and you know, Google. I don't think Google has a name, right? It's just Google.
Yeah, it's like you say like, hey Google.
Yeah, those are, you know, so prevalent in a lot of homes nowadays to be able to use voice commands with a lot of different stuff. Like Xbox was pushing for this future of where you're doing certain stuff. The sad part was that they were trying to drag people kicking and screaming, and because they tried to do that, it cost them the Xbox One generation. It didn't help, yes, that you had like what was his name?
Don Matrick.
Don Matrick saying stupid shit like, well, you know, if you want to be online, we got a console for you. It's called the Xbox 360, you know, stuff like that. You can't make fun.
And
You
because
can't make-
fucking poor, dude.
You can't.
Well,
This is it.
it's
'Cause
funny
PlayStation-
because Sony did it the PlayStation before. They were like, get another job, nerd.
Yeah, they were just like,
If you want
You
to
can't
buy a
afford
PlayStation
it?
3,
get another job. Yeah. That's what lost them the PS3 generation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened with the Xbox One generation. They did shit like that. And
$200 more.
yeah. And it cost them the Xbox One generation. So I think because of that, and now, like, that's it. They lost their... At this point, if they're not the number one console, they're never going to be the number one console. Especially right now. Because PlayStation...
I'm sure a lot of people thought, like, if Sony fucks up and says something stupid the next generation, you could lose it. Like, you could say something stupid.
Well, I was literally about to get to that right now. Like, I'm literally about to say that right now. Sony has been making a lot of mistakes that if you know, obviously you guys aren't online as I am, as much as I am. Sony has been doing a lot of shit that's been pissing off a lot of their, like, fan base. But their fan base is staying around. It hasn't translated to them losing console sales to Xbox. There's that whole thing. There was a report like last week. I keep talking about how they sold like 77 million PS5s or whatever. Xbox has only sold about 30 million Series X XSs. Something like that. They basically have outsold the Xbox 2-1. Maybe it was like 30 something million. But they basically outsold them 2-1. And with the amount that PlayStation has been making mistakes with what they've been doing, like oh yeah, now, you know, how much is PlayStation Premium costing? They raised the price like very, you know, substantially to what it was. You know, the way they raised their prices was not very popular, and they didn't switch it around. They didn't say like, okay, no, we're not going to do that. They stuck to their guns. They're going to do that. There was other things too that's just like people are like, what are you doing? Oh, making a lot of games. I know we're making, you know, we make fun of them, but like remastering a lot of the games has not been a popular strategy. Like if you look online, but again,
Go buy all the games, though.
yeah. But this comes down to like the casual audience. PlayStation 4 was like deemed the one, you know, like whenever you saw something, you know, someone was talking about it or whatever it was, there's always someone PlayStation 4, PlayStation. And because of that, the casual audience, I think at this point now, the casual audience being like, oh yeah, the PlayStation, that's the console to get. I just don't think at this point Xbox can overcome PlayStation and become number one. I don't think that they can take over anymore at this point. Maybe the only one who could take over is the Switch. But like when you always see like console sales being compared, it's always between Xbox and PlayStation because, you know, Nintendo just kind of marches to the beat of their own drum. Like, you know, they never see it like, oh yeah, let's count them all together. It's always like, yeah, Nintendo's just doing its own thing. Because, like, honestly, Nintendo is part of this generation with the Series X and the PlayStation 5. They were the start of this current generation with the Switch. And if you look, I mean, in reality, they're the #1 selling console with what I say earlier. It was like 133 million, but we don't count them. And
they're kind of just doing their own thing.
literally what I just said. Yeah, they just do their own thing. So like when we talk about who's leading the console war or winning the console war or whatever, it's always going to be between PlayStation and Xbox. That's just how it is. And Xbox, I think now at this point, they're just kind of never going to be able to overcome any kind of anything. And yeah, with Phil Spencer saying like that they've lost the console war. This is just the reality of the situation, and they're going to just start. Yeah, I mean, I don't think these first 4 games are going to be the only games. I think it's the start of them releasing more games on PlayStation. But like I said, they just keep making Xbox. Everything's fine. I'll still be playing on Xbox. And like I said, I think they're forced to keep making Xbox because Game Pass is their #1 priority. And the only way you're going to have Game Pass is if you have PC, but you know, you can't rely on PC. You got to, you still have to have the console. You're going to have an Xbox if you want Game Pass. So, I don't know. I've said a lot on this. I don't know if you guys have much more to add to it.
No, I mean, we can keep beating the dead horse, but I mean, it's like I said, it could be. I mean, it could be the last 4. It could be more. I mean, it's if Microsoft needs to make more money to recoup some of the costs, because I mean, shit ain't getting cheaper these days, so it's just like whatever. Do what you gotta do, but as long as I get my day 1 and day releases on Game Pass, like that's all that I care about.
But I mean, like I said too, that Phil Spencer said these 4 games are not a promise of more to come. They are releasing these games, and yes, they are like a test bed, but this doesn't mean that that's it. They're gonna start releasing games all the time or permanently on other consoles. Like that's just it. This could all be for naught that we're talking about, like that they're releasing these games and saying that they're, maybe they're gonna start releasing more and this and that, and they just release those 4 games and look at it and be like, yeah, it's not worth it, and then that's it. We never see another Xbox game on PlayStation.
Or because he even said, like, he's like, I want I want the developers to announce it or whatever. Like, games get canceled all the time, or like, I don't know, like it could end up not being worth it for these games to even, like, they could just get canceled or shelved. Like, it could easily happen. So like, who knows what we even get these for? So it's just like, so we'll just wait and see.
I do have a theory, like a theory on why they're releasing these games. I don't think it's just necessarily they're trying to like recoup costs. I think specifically with these games, the ones that are heavily rumored to be releasing, like Sea of Thieves makes sense. It's a live service game. You can make money off of PlayStation users who buy the game and then maybe oh, I want to buy this, pirate sale or whatever and all this shit. I don't remember what the other rumored big game was. But I think specifically Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush, those were the 2 rumored smaller games. I think the reason those games are being released is I think because there was that that report that this is why I think Starfield's gonna end up releasing on PlayStation or whatever as well. There was that report that Starfield had a PlayStation build. They were developing it for PlayStation. I think they were probably developing
before Microsoft bought them.
Yeah.
They could have been working on it before Microsoft fully straight up.
Exactly. Because they were working on Starfield for a long time. So they're probably, Hi-Fi Rush, was shadow dropped. It's not like they worked on that game as soon as they bought Bethesda. Because they released that game 6 months after they announced they bought Bethesda or some shit. It's not like they worked on that game for 6 months. So they probably were working on like a PlayStation version of that game, and then said, "Oh well, now we're owned by Xbox, so you're gonna release it on Xbox." So they probably have like a working build on PlayStation. Same thing with Pentiment too, because that game came out I don't know when, but games take a few years to make. They probably were like, "Oh yeah, we've been making this game for Xbox and PlayStation," and then because Pentiment is Obsidian, even though they bought Obsidian a while ago. But they probably had like, "Oh yeah, we were building it for PlayStation. I've been building this game for a while," because it was like this was a smaller team, so they probably had been working on it for years while they were working on other stuff. And said, "Hey, we do have a PlayStation 4 build," and say, "Hey, you know what? Fuck it, finish it, and we'll." Which is probably why they're releasing now. They probably were telling them like, "Hey, just finish it up. We're gonna release it on PlayStation. Let's make a little extra money on that." And I think that was like the same thing with the other like bigger game that was like rumored. That like there's probably, a build for PlayStation. Which is why I think, why I think they're gonna release Starfield at some point on PlayStation. Probably why they're gonna release Indiana Jones as well on PlayStation. Because they were most likely, making these games, for years, and they had a PlayStation build that just got abandoned as soon as Microsoft bought Bethesda. So, I mean, if you see, if there happens to be like an Activision game that's like, "Oh yeah, this is an Xbox exclusive," I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, like a year afterward, we'll say a year again, like that. Yeah, they're like, "Oh hey, here's one for PlayStation now. Here's a game for PlayStation," because there was probably already a build for PlayStation. They just decided to not play it or not build it out, finish it out. So that's what I'm thinking. They already had the build. They already had it ready, like almost ready to go. They just need to put the final touches. Put it out there. Make a little extra money. Win-win for Microsoft, Xbox.
Microsoft.
For Microsoft, yes. I mean, I could be wrong on that one too. I don't know. But to me, that makes a lot of sense. That they already had a build, and they just needed to finish it out. So I don't know. Again, we've just been talking about this for a while. There's probably just not much more to talk about or to speak on. So I don't know. Is that you guys want to call that a successful episode of Gaming Chamber?
Yeah.
I think that was that. I think we were gonna talk about the Halo episode, but I think since I haven't watched it yet, but I think next episode is gonna be pretty lit.
So yeah,
be a really good episode about that next week.
I said last week that I wanted to start making that like a thing where we talk about like gaming shows and movies and everything. We're going to try and do that every week. Obviously, this week, because not everyone watched the episode of Halo the latest episode. So next week, for next week's Gaming Chamber, we'll talk about the latest 2 episodes. I will say that I did watch the latest episode of Halo myself. I liked it. It was awesome. It was good. It was built. It's obviously building toward something, and where it ends, I'm like, oh yeah, I can't wait for next week. So, but we'll talk about that next week along with the next episode. So, yeah, that'll be next week.
Those episodes come out every Thursday, right?
Every Thursday.
Yeah. So
Every Thursday.
okay.
All right, that's good to know.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, perfect.
No,
I
it
think that's
comes out
pretty
every
much it.
Thursday.
So next week we're gonna talk about Halo next time, I think, unless there's
we'll
other
talk-
gaming news.
I mean,
I think I saw something about was it? Did you see the Elden Ring thing? Or, like From Software, was it like purchased like all of the for it or something like that?
they now own the IP
The copyright,
or like the
or IP.
copyright, whatever. They own the IP now for Elden Ring. So, because who was it? Bandai Namco? Is that the name of the?
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones who published it. They own the rights to the game, or well, owned it. They owned the rights to the Elden Ring IP. Not anymore. FromSoft owns it. So now that leaves the door to, like, let's say, I mean, this could be a very big possibility. You never know. Like that, like if the next Elden Ring, for the next Elden Ring game, Elden Ring 2, if Sony, let's say Sony is like, hey, here's a blank check, put a number on it. We want this game exclusive to PlayStation. It can now happen.
Bloodborne 2 remastered. I mean, Bloodborne 1 remastered for PS.
Oh my god, dude! I just want that so bad. There are, in the history of video games, I can confidently say that there's maybe like 4, maybe 4, like either like remakes or whatever, remasters or whole new entries in franchises or whatever. When it comes to franchises or whatever, there's maybe like 4 games that I want to be a reality. 3 or 4.
Xenogears.
Huh? Xenogears. Xenogears, but not specifically just Xenogears, like, because like, I mean, they had it on PlayStation 3 or whatever. You could play it as like a PS1 classic. And maybe someday they'll put it on PlayStation 5 as a PS1 classic. No, I want them to do a complete, like, we finished this game, because it's famously, well, maybe not famously, but if you know anything about Xenogears, they never finished the game. They rushed the ending because they couldn't finish it. So, like, I want them to finish that game, and then, like, they don't have to do, like, all new graphics. Maybe make it look like, I don't know, what would be the equivalent that I could think of what it would look like. Just, make it look like an anime, I guess. Like when you're playing it.
Like a Tales game, right? A Tales game. Tales of game.
No, but like because I don't want them to do like there's the Final Fantasy VII remake, because it's a Square Enix game. So I don't want them to do that where it's like a beat 'em up, because that game is more like it's a melee combat game with the way like everyone does melee combat. I think maybe there's like one guy who shoots or whatever. But I like their combat system. Maybe if they did like, okay, we're gonna make it look like super realistic, but they need to keep the combat system, because I like it. It's like a combo based system where it's like, okay, so your character has 5 points to attack. If you choose this attack, it costs 3 points. If you choose this attack, it costs 2. If you choose this attack, it costs 1. So you could basically be like, okay, what is it? X is 1, square is 2, and triangle, or is it cross, not X? And triangle is 3 points. See, if you had like 5 points to attack, you could just be like cross, 5 times. And then if you happen to have like a combo specific to that, it would do like a power hit at the end. Or if you're like, oh, okay, so I'm going to do like, triangle square. And now that costs 5 points, but that has a combo to it. So he'll do like the 2 hits and then do like a 3rd hit that like does major damage, stuff like that. I like that system a lot. I would not want them to change that. But yeah, I desperately would love. That's probably my biggest, like, when it comes to any game, I want that to be just remade and finished. Like I said, specifically finished, because I want to see how the story fully goes, not just what they had in that original release. Bloodborne Remaster is another one, because I do I love Bloodborne. I like From Software games. And the fact that I can only play it at 30 frames per second on my PlayStation 5 is kind of a travesty, you know what I mean? Especially because, you know, Dark Souls 2... No, not Dark Souls. Dark Souls 3, if you play it on PlayStation, it's still only at 30 frames. But if you play it on Xbox, they did their shit where you can play it at 60 frames. That's pretty cool, you know? Maybe if PlayStation had that ability where it's like they you know, had the frame rate boost.
Actually boost their shit. Would be
Yeah.
Sweet.
Maybe I wouldn't care as much if they did like, oh, we have a frame rate boost too. You can play Bloodborne at 60 frames per second. Then fine, I don't need a Bloodborne remaster. I'll just play my PlayStation 4 version and play it on my PlayStation 5, and it's got frame rate boost. The other games, I want a Titanfall 3. Like the fact that we don't have another Titanfall game is just like another fucking
Blame
game.
Apex Legends for that.
That's not Titanfall. I want.
I said blame Apex
Oh,
Legends.
I thought you said
Blame-
like you play Apex Legends. Yeah, I'm like, because of Apex Legends.
Like in a couple of years, like in a couple of seasons, they're gonna add a dude that's literally from Apex Legends. I mean Titanfall 2.
Well, because it takes place in the same universe. So.
Yeah, it takes
Yeah,
place.
so like they're gonna have one of the pilots.
Are they really
the
gonna do
game.
that? Probably that one.
Yeah, they
villain
announced
dude.
they announced like a couple of years ago.
Probably that one villain guy.
Oh,
I
like, they
forgot
data
his name.
mined it or whatever. They data mined the shit, you know.
Oh, it was data mine.
It-
Yeah.
Yeah, they have like 3 or 4 people already like kind of like already announced for the characters. But again, they haven't shown the characters, but you know, people, you know, they do that shit. Crazy. Which kind of sucks. That's what I kind of hate about like that shit. Cause nothing really a surprise anymore.
I honestly don't really care about surprises. I just want. I always want to know when something's coming out. Because for me, it builds more anticipation. Yeah, it sucks to have to wait, but like if I know something is
care.
coming out,
Things just, I'd rather developer. I hate when things just get leaked. I'd rather have developers tell me when
Yeah,
shit's coming
developers
out.
did it. Yeah. Yeah, they say
Again,
Because, like,
I-
obviously, like, I don't need everything shadow drop, but like, I don't know, like, it sucks for those people that work hard on this shit. Like, you get your shit
the
leaked, and
GTA
you're like,
thing. Like I was watching a lot of videos. Some people were very upset with that shit because you know they were ready and getting hyped for the day of the release, the trailer for GTA 6.
I don't know, man. That one, like,
You have all the marketing.
we knew a new
everything was
GTA,
just-
but we knew a new GTA game was going to come out at some point.
No, like the trailer.
I know, but like to be like for people to be like, oh, I can't believe that got leaked and all. Like we knew something was coming. Like whatever. I don't know. It was, I don't know.
It's just the marketing, everything. It's just all again white people shit, like you say, corporate shit. So they're not happy with that.
I don't know. I'm not
So it's like
too concerned with if developers are able to be the one. I just care. I know. Okay, it's coming. It's coming. I just want to know the game is going to be a reality. Whether that gets, if it's leaked or developer says it, doesn't really matter. I've never been one. I mean, I'm one of those people who literally like. Remember when Gears 3 came out? Like, I went online and when I could see like, oh, I could see the ending for the game, and spoilers for a fucking 13-year-old game now, whatever. Before I even played the game, I knew and saw the scene where Dom died. Like, I'm one of those people I don't care. I do not care. It's always going to be about like that I just know about it and I can experience it for myself. The fact that a developer is able to like announce a game or not is never going to be like a major thing to me. So it's never going to be. I know that's pretty fucked up, but I just would rather know. That's, you know, I knew, like, you know, when it comes to movies, I knew what happened in Avengers Endgame before I watched the movie. Hell,
yeah, you're a psychopath.
hell, when Gears of War 2 came out, this is such a funny story. I think I've told you this before, Devin. And you too, JJ, or whatever. But, like, when Gears of War 2 came out, I had the game pre-ordered. I had, like, I was like, I don't know if I had like the collector's edition pre-ordered or whatever. I know I had it pre-ordered, but because you had to get it from GameStop like through a pre-order, right, to get like the gold skin, or just through a pre-order in general,
Yeah.
right? So I had it ready. You know, I pre-ordered the game. It was paid off and everything. So I was gonna get that gold skin for the weapons, you know, when I got the game. I went to go hang out at a buddy's house. Like I was like gonna spend the weekend with him because we're gonna. And I bought it at a 7-Eleven. Me and him went to a 7-Eleven. This is literally the, you know, like Friday or Saturday before the game came out. And we happened to see it at a 7-Eleven because at the time 7-Eleven was selling games. And we saw it like at their, you know, one of their like little kiosk things or whatever it is, their stands. And we said, fuck it, we're buying it now. And, you know, I canceled my pre-order like the next day or whatever. And yeah, I had the game like 3 days before the actual release day or some shit like that. Maybe 2 days, I don't remember.
The game. I had the game a week early before it came out.
Yeah. Like, I just want to have the shit. Or know about the shit. That's why I've never been like, you know.
I played on Halloween. That's what it was. I remember in high school. I came back from hanging out with some friends, and my dad just showed me the copy of Gears of War 2, and I started playing it with him for a little bit. And then he laughed, and he's like, don't play online. First thing it is, go straight to online. I'm like this shit.
Well, yeah, this thing, I played online. I did play online, but it was to play the co-op. Because we had the two TVs next to each other, and we just said, fuck it, go online or whatever. I might have played some multiplayer. I'm not too sure.
Probably got worked by JJ.
Like I was playing because I'm always playing Tharngard back in Gears 1, and I just see everybody's, you know, back then it was just playing Scourge. So I'm like, who the fuck is this character? I don't know.
Yeah, I was playing as the Cantus, I think.
You know, that was back when like my dad was working Hollywood Video. He was getting me games early, like, you know, I think the best part was getting Modern Warfare 2 early.
And then what was it?
It
was probably like a couple months later. I met you, Devin, through Gears of War 2. And my life has been shit ever since.
Cool.
Yeah, I met Devin due to GameStop when he commented about my back when GameStop actually was kind of like unique for being like, oh yeah, here's your employees. This is what their favorite games are. Like in the little wall that we had.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the employees had 2 of their favorite games on there. And I had Gears of War on there. I think it Halo Wars too. But then we saw that and we started talking. And then we started playing Gears.
I just met Devin through a random Gears match. And then my life was fucked ever since. Worst influence of my life.
Don't be cheeky now.
I'm an influencer.
He's yeah. Oh, you're officially an influencer. But yeah. I don't know, that's just a funny story to me. A little story about like Gears that I found it. We found copies of Gears 2 at a 7-Eleven and just said, hell yeah. And then played the fucking campaign over the next, you know, day and a half or whatever. So I don't know. All right, let's go ahead and end this. We've been talking for like what, 2 hours now. I think that's a pretty good episode right there. And we even got in some like actually, you know what, if there happens to not be any real big gaming news, we might take the next episode to be like, let's talk about some funny gaming stories when it comes to us. Might have to do that at some point.
Are you talking about how trash you are at games?
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god. All right, with that is definitely going to end the episode. All right, so this has been Gaming Chamber. Fucking Devin. Gaming Chamber Podcast, Episode 6. I have been 2BeastKillYou, aka Everett. Go ahead and say later, Devin and JJ, you motherfuckers.
See you.
All right, and if we see you next week, we'll see you next week. Till then, we'll catch you later.